Good morning and welcome to the P&B Morning Show. My name is Isa Nu and we'll be having so much to discuss this morning on the beautiful Friday in the Federal Capital Territory. And with me is my co-host,
Abraham Abba.
It's great, Abraham, having you this morning
Very good.
on the morning show. I know how difficult things are during the week. So many Nigerians are actually preparing for the Christmas season and the expectations are high. Despite the inflation, I know you have gotten your cow or your goat somewhere hidden.
I left it. It's on its way.
It's on its way. Probably the inflation is also having a major impact on you. But then, still, Nigeria still remains the same. Just day before yesterday, the president submitted the 2025 a budget to the National Assembly. And he did mention something funny, that this is the 11th Assembly, and there was an uproar.
Yes.
That no, this is the 10th assembly, and the president said, "Don't worry, you are already there."
You're already there.
So we are going to have that conversation later in the day. So this is how we'll be starting the conversation this morning on the PMB Morning Show. As you know, today is a Friday, and so many Nigerians are actually preparing for the festive period. And on this same Friday, you discover that so many persons are also getting married in different settings we have across the country. So we'll be having enough to discuss this morning on this morning show, and today we'll be joined by a guest in our live studio here in person of Town Planner Sani Adamu. We'll be discussing about the land revocation in the FCT. So many issues has been coming up with regards to that particular issue that was raised by the minister, and then we need somebody that can actually tell us this is how things should be done. So we'll be going on a very short break, and when we return, we'll start up with the conversation. Welcome back from that mild break, and joining us now is Town Planner Sani Adam. Good morning and welcome to the P&B Morning Show.
Thank you very much.
It's nice having you on this day, putting on white or donning on white on a Friday, on a beautiful Friday in the Federal Capital Territory. I hope your land has not been revoked, if you have any.
Thank you very much. It's Friday, and usually wearing white, appearing clean and neat is part of the tenets of Islam. Alhamdulillah.
Okay,
Thank Almighty Allah for being alive, healthy, and moving on with life.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sani Adamu. Recently we saw you in Lagos, where we had the Nigerian Environmental Society having their program, and also before then, you were in Enugu State, if I'm correct, during the town planners program also, where you had a new leader in terms of town planning in the NITP. You are a former national auditor, also a former PRO of the FCT branch, and now the conversation that is surrounding that has been coming up with respect to the issue of land revocation in the FCT is becoming so much. And being a town planner, what are your take on issues that has to do with land management first in the FCT?
Okay, thank you very much once again for having me, and I appreciate the invitation. I'm here to shed light as a professional, being a town planner, so definitely there's a lot I can inform people about land ownership, land usage, land revocation, and all what have you. In the first instance, lands in Nigeria operational under the Land Use Act of 1978, vested the control and management of lands in the hands of the governor in the case of a state and the minister in the case of the federal capital. So all lands are to be held in trust by these leaders and managed appropriately. So coming down, cascading to the FCT, where the minister is the authority that is in charge of management and usage of land. Before anybody acquires a land in the FCT through statutory means, they must apply. You apply, and when that land is approved for you and is granted in your favor, there are conditions which will be stipulated in the offer of that land. So those conditions are itemized and they are clearly spelled out.
Okay.
So before you take ownership of that land, you must accept those conditions. So by accepting those conditions, it means willingly you want to abide by the rules and regulations governing the usage of that land. So they are going to inform you the fees you pay, how you develop the land, what use are you going to put that land to, the tenure in which you hold that land, which is usually 99 years in Nigeria, and other processes that you must carry out in using that land. Even while you are occupying that land, there are conditions that you must abide by. So all those things are carefully drafted so that we will have a sane society. People are not meant to do whatever they want to do with land, because you are in a society and that society belongs to everybody. It's not for you to say, okay, the government has given me land, let me do whatever I want. No. There must be conditions. Part of the conditions is that there are prescribed fees which you must pay. There are ground rents, there are certificates of occupancy, there are setting out bills, and some of them are paid once, some are paid on yearly basis. And if you fail to meet up with some of those conditions, it's automatically a ground for revocation of that land, because you are meant to pay those bills. There are revenue that accrue to the government, so the government will be able to provide facilities and services for the welfare and well-being of all the citizens. So if you do not discharge that responsibility, it means that the government will not be able to service you. And by the time government do not provide road, when the government do not provide electricity, water supply, drainage, it did not clear sewage, and so on, the citizenry will cry, because that is what the leaders are there to do. They are there to serve the people. But for them to serve the people, they must serve with resources. The minister cannot come to FCT and bring money from his pocket to clear refuse for anybody. It is the bills that we pay on monthly, annual basis. He has to construct roads, he has to build schools, he has to pay salaries, and everything that the government has to do to discharge its own responsibility. So in the instance of land, when you are granted that land, you accept all those conditions and they are clearly spelled out. Well, the problem of Nigeria,
Yes.
most of us do not read those terms and conditions
of the land.
Somebody say, they have just given me land, so let me just go. I want to build a commercial building. No, it's even industry I want to do. They don't read. They don't read to see that this land is for residential use. You cannot use it for commercial purpose, because before that land is allocated to you, a plan has been prepared in place. And that plan is a guide for every parcel of land. This is what you are meant to do. The main reason for doing that is so we can have a functional setting. So you look at the overall settings, you know that this place is for commercial use, this is for residential, this is for industrial. So nobody should interfere with another person. All right. So all of us are supposed to enjoy the city, and it is only when you discharge your responsibility, I discharge my own, you discharge his own, that is when we have a saner environment for everybody.
Okay, Abraham, if you had something to add to what he has said, because he has mentioned so many straightforward way of doing this. So if you can have one or two questions for him.
Is it Mr. or Malam?
Irrespective.
Oh, okay. Sir, I've heard you very well, and one of the questions I want to ask is, these lands are given for 99 years. If I heard you very well. Now, what are the possibilities that the person who acquired this land will spend the number of years, or how do you go about it? Is it that if it's given to you, it will continue like that, or there's a way the things are being done in the FCT and other places?
Well, the land tenure system in Nigeria usually is 99 years. And at the expiration of that tenure, that 99 years, the land reverts back to the government.
Okay.
So it is at the instance of the government, whoever is in authority at that time, to either renew that tenure or revoke it. And that depends on the citizenry, because the leader is there to serve. If, for instance, you have built a house, you have abided by all the rules and regulations, you are paying your prescribed fees at the time, I don't think any reasonable leader will come and say, no, after 99 years, they will renew it. But if you have become an irresponsible citizen, for instance, you are not paying your bill, you have not built it in accordance with what is required, or you are doing some things that are not right, okay, the government can decide to take it. It doesn't even have to be that 99 years. Once you are not able to meet some of those conditions, which you willingly
attested to,
and you have agreed to abide by, for the overall welfare and well-being of the society, it means automatically you are the one denying yourself that land. Now, there are other avenues or reasons in which revocation might come. Revocation can come in different ways. Okay, there might be reasons why government want to take some lands. Maybe they want to redevelop a place, they want to enhance it, so new bigger roads are coming up, new pipelines are coming in place. So government can decide to come and say, okay, this area should look like this, or this area we should provide these things and these things. If your land is affected, okay, the government will communicate to you through the appropriate channel. They will engage with the people of that place. At the end of the day, they will reach a consensus. The government will discharge its own responsibility. If you have development on that land, the land will be revoked and appropriate compensation will be paid to you. That is in a case where the government want to take over your land for reasons of overriding public interest, which means either a road, a transmission line is passing through your land. We are developing every day, just like human beings. Cities also,
evolve.
They have life. So things continue to happen. As the city grows, things keep changing. So if those changes happen and you are the person that is affected without any of your fault, the government will not just say, okay, you just leave this place. No, there are procedures. The land will be collected from you, and adequate compensation will be paid to you. So in essence, the government will not allow you to suffer for no reason. No, the government is there to protect you and to make life better for you. That is why there are well-established protocol of revocation of land in such instances. But in the other instances where you fail to discharge your responsibility as an allottee of land, the government has a right to take over your land.
In this particular case that you've raised now, we've seen so many issues of revocation of land ownership, and just like the recent one that we had with the Rita Lori's family, and beyond that also, we had a series of cases like that, people coming up on air to actually hear their views with respect to how the minister has actually revoked some of their lands, including Julius Berger, one of the famous construction company we have in the country. Looking at this particular issue, because some of them have actually termed this land grabbing, is it possible for a minister to grab a land?
Well,
Because he is the custodian of this particular land.
well, when people say minister wants to grab land, I don't know what they mean by that.
Okay.
But what I know for certain is that the minister cannot wake up from his sleep and just revoke a land. There are procedures, well-established procedures through the civil service, and it has to pass through channels, and there is back and forward communication between the allottees and the authority. So the minister cannot just wake up and say, I take over your land or this land. No, the minister must have reasons for him to take any action. He cannot sit in his office and just say, your
land has been revoked.
Your land has been revoked, or leave this parcel of land. No, the minister, there are established protocols, and there must be a justifiable reason for every action the minister must take. The only thing is that, issue of land is very personal to people. When they are there, even if they do not discharge their own responsibility, or there are inherent reasons, they may not want to leave that place. For that attachment they already have to that land. So, but certainly, I don't really think a minister can just revoke land for the purpose of grabbing it. Well, I don't have those details. I won't be able to.
But if you remember, when he was appointed, this same issue happened where he said that so many persons have actually not been paying the ground rent. And for some time, I think Daily Trust and some other newspaper, I think they picked it up, listing all the houses, or probably all the areas that were affected. And now we are not seeing him revisiting this same issue again, just within the past 1 month, with over 700 houses to be revoked if they did not do the needful. And one of the persons that was actually affected, let me not say person because it was done under a foundation, was the former president, President Muhammadu Buhari. And just yesterday, Garba Shehu came out to say, look, this land is not a personal land to the former president. It was some people who had good intention to actually have a foundation under his name in Maitama. In these particular cases, so many politicians were actually affected. So many businessmen were affected, especially in the Maitama District 1, where so many land, probably if they did not follow this process, will be revoked. These are high-brows areas. These are people that actually knows what they are doing. Is it possible that they can actually breach the rule guiding land allocation?
Yes, of course. The law is blind.
Indeed.
So, you see, when a land is being allocated to anybody, it doesn't matter the position of that person. What matters is what are the conditions that were handed down to such an individual or to such an organization, no matter the intent of the organization, there are conditions that are laid down for that organization to follow. Yes, they might be good-spirited individuals, but if they did not fulfill some of those obligations, it becomes a problem, because everybody has a responsibility to discharge. Okay? And sometimes we like politicizing things too much. Why do they need to call the name of the former president?
Because it
For
was
goodness
registered
sake.
under his name, President Muhammad Buhari's
If it is
foundation.
registered Muhammadu Buhari
Foundation,
Foundation,
yes.
okay, there must be a reason for the minister to take some decisions. Even if the former president is sitting on the minister's office and this kind of issue come to his desk, all right, he must take the appropriate action he is supposed to take, because it is nothing personal, has nothing, is a procedural thing. Okay, and you can't say, okay, because is the former president, so if he did not discharge his responsibility, you will just be looking at him.
But some people have actually raised question that,
No.
look, beyond the issue of even making it the former president, President Muhammad Buhari, despite the fact that he was not the one that shouted for that particular land. Okay, welcome back, and we apologize for that mild technical hitch. And just like we've been discussing before now, we still have Mr. Sani Adamu in the building and still discussing issue that is relevant to many residents of the Federal Capital Territory on the issue of land revocation. And Mr. Sani, before we had that transmission cut, can you just complete on that your thoughts before we move to the next question?
Yes, so what I was saying actually is that the minister cannot just wake up and say, I take over so person land to grab it. Even if it is the former president through a foundation, there are channels, there are ways, protocols, these things are being done. And if peradventure the people who felt aggrieved on that issue have a case, they can still send a letter to the minister. They can question the minister, ask him why he takes such decisions. So the minister is duty bound to explain to them why so decision is taken. If they feel they are not satisfied, you know, they can still go further and find other means to resolve the issue. Some people go to the courts of law, and the courts of law are there to adjudicate and do justice to everyone.
Okay, because I remember part of what Garba Shehu, the former spokesperson to the president, did said was that the land, despite the fact that it was people of good intent that actually applied for that particular land, during the process of trying to get the land, they had major issues, and one of them was probably there are some roadblocks they couldn't surmount, and as a result of that, they had to give a bit of withdrawal, and that was actually what led to what actually happened. So and I remember also Justice Onoge was also affected by that land, and that was the former Chief Justice of the Federation. Could it be that he didn't actually follow the law? But then still, Abraham,
yes,
please, you can go ahead.
you see, I want to believe the minister went through all that, Mr. Sani, and then looking at all the issue that is going on right now, I want to ask a question. What are the possibilities that if I'm given a land and I'm not able to develop it in a set time, let's say, okay, this administration is over, and then a minister come up, what are the possibilities? Like what we see today, you see the names, you see names, big names, you know, industrialists and other politicians. Most of this land, I think they can develop it, right, sir? But what is the issue that makes some of these people leave this land for 20, 30 years, and now that the new sheriff is in town, it's making them feel as if somebody is trying to play politics or something? Why is it like that?
Okay, Thank you very much. You know, most times, like I said earlier on, sentiments
Okay.
are things that play a lot in our country. If a land is granted to anybody, the purpose is not for a person to keep that land undeveloped, especially where the government has put in infrastructure. Government has expended so much resources, putting road, putting electricity, putting drainage, water, communication, and everything. Then you just abandon the land and just leave it. That is speculation. Just keeping it so that when it appreciates in value,
Land farming.
you now come and sell it. So there are inherent conditions. Time has been given to you that within so period of time, you must develop that land. So once you go back to the title document that is granted to you, it is explicitly written there that you have so time to develop that land. If you are not ready to develop the land within such a period of time, you are not supposed to accept it, because there are so many Nigerians looking for land to develop, especially housing sector. We are running so short of housing that so many families do not have where to live, and it's responsibility of government to provide land for people to own their own houses, to have a shelter over their head. It's a fundamental thing, having shelter. So somebody has a land in a serviced area, take for instance Garki, Maitama, Asokoro, all right, Gusape, you're talking about Utako, Jabi, all these areas, they have been fully provided with engineering infrastructure to make life meaningful and easy for the person. All right, yet you just leave the land. First, leaving the land there is reducing value to the city, because there is supposed to be an economic activity or a residential activity taking place in that land. Leaving it fallow deprives the city of that usage.
Yes.
Secondly, the plot becomes a nuisance. It becomes a security threat to the adjoining development. So meaning that you are keeping the land, but you are not being fair to people who are living in that area. You are not being fair to the city itself. You are not being fair to the economy of the city, because the city is supposed to be a thriving environment. So leaving a land unoccupied, unused over such a period of time runs contrary to the conditions that were granted ab initio, which you voluntarily sign to say you abide by these terms and conditions. All right, and it's not only that. Before you develop, you are supposed to acquire a building permit. You must have an approval, so that you prepare a plan, you submit, they look at it to say, okay, what you prepare is good enough for this place, and is in line with what is given to you, is in line with regulation. That is how societies exist, and that is how things should be. But when you say, no, I'm given 2 years to develop this land, I can leave it for 20 years. Well, if a minister comes that says, no, I will enforce this agreement that you have with the government, you don't have a reason to cry. You don't have a reason to cry at all. All you need to do is to go back and check yourself. Have I done my own part? If you have done your own part properly, then you have a reason to raise your voice. You have a reason to complain, and you have a reason to even go as far as approaching a court of law, because when you get to a court of law, all these things are things that will play.
So in this particular aspect now that this issue has been raised was raised by the minister, all the names of the persons involved, the land involved, were published. Do you see the possibility of anybody who is affected by this particular statement or policy by the minister can actually redress it before action is taken?
No, you see, why do they publish those names? First of all, there is communication
between the
between
FCT, the minister,
authority
between the authority
and the
and the
allottees.
allottees.
Okay.
prior to even this publishment.
Okay.
All right. So when they publish it, that is the last resort. Because at the end of the day, when the matter gets to court, some people will come out and say, I was not communicated. So it's just like a normal court of law. If they try as much as possible to serve you and you continue to elude, you know, they will go for substituted means, which means they can go and paste it in that property, or they can publish it in widely read newspapers. So tomorrow you don't have a reason to come out and say you were not communicated. Actually, that publication is for it to serve as an effective communication. So tomorrow you won't come out and say the government just took away my land, because there are procedures for land revocation, and these are part of the procedures. Communication to the allottee. Well, you so we have given you a parcel of land, but we have observed you have not fulfilled so requirement, so requirement. In view of that, you are hereby given so period, a grace period. That's if the minister is magnanimous enough.
Yes.
You say, I've given you a grace period of so time. Please go and fulfill the requirements that you sign and that you agreed to adhere to. If in so time you did not do it, whatever follows, you have yourself to blame.
The
All right?
minister, fortunately, is also a lawyer. So
Yes.
Abraham, maybe you can pick it up from there.
Yes. Another one I'm looking at, sir. This issue, you see, when you go around town, most of the places like Warimpa and Metama and all those big places, you see estates. I'll be surprised that you see estates that is well built and then is left unattended to. It's left without people occupying it. Then, with this system that the minister is bringing up now, what will happen to the owners of these estates?
No. What I said earlier on is that every allocation
Good.
has terms and conditions. If they have fulfilled the terms and conditions contained, they have nothing to worry about. Sincerely speaking, you know, for me, the only people who have something to worry about are the people who has not fulfilled
The basic conditions.
the basic conditions that were given to them, and which you have already signed voluntarily, and the records are there. Every land allocation has a record. You have a file. There's a system where you just click. Everything will come out, and it is there. So if you have done your own part, sincerely, you don't have anything to worry about. No minister can just come and say a citizen that has performed all his duties diligently in respect of his land will just come and say, I take over this land without a reason. No, it doesn't happen like that.
Let me try
There
and
must be a reason.
okay, let me try to cap this up, and then with this particular question, just in September, you revoked about 265 undeveloped plots. Are there possibilities of somebody getting a land? For instance, you've been allotted a land. Yes, you did not develop it, but you've been paying ground rent to actually within that same period of time. Is it still okay for the minister to actually revoke it, despite the fact that no development has actually taken place there? Because one other issue that is very, very important is this issue of ground rent. I know so many residents or so many people who have been allotted this land actually do fail to abide to. So is there possibility of revoking such land?
Of course, development is one condition. Payment of ground rent is another condition. So there are many conditions that are listed there. If you have been paying your ground rent, but you fail to develop the plot, apparently the minister has a right to revoke that land and allocate it to someone who can develop. All right? If you have developed and you are not paying your ground rent, you are not fulfilling the condition. You are supposed to pay your ground rent, pay all the statutory fees, develop it at the appropriate time, all right, and enjoy your 99 years tenure uninterrupted.
Which is not transferable by family or by inheritance?
No, it's transferable.
Okay.
It's transferable.
Okay.
Every title is transferable. All you need to do, you can sell, you can transfer. If you are deceased, your family will inherit your property for the remaining period of that tenure. All right? If someone is granted an allocation for 99 years and he lived for 20 years, the remaining unused period will be transferred to his family. So they will go and register it. If he's deceased, they will go do all the court processes and bring the papers to the land administration, where they will register all those documents, and the title will be transferred to the new owner. So also, if you have a property and you sell it, all you need to do is to take all your documents, register them in court, and then bring them to the land administration, where they will register such interest in your own favor, so that at any point in time, anybody is carrying out search for anything, they will see that the property has transferred from Isa to this, from this to that. So all those things are there. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sani Adamu, or Town Planner Sani Adamu, for joining us this morning on the P&B Morning Show. It's always a delight having you on our programs, and because of the basic enlightenment you provide for the populace, it's very, very important that we are enlightened, most especially when it comes to land administration in the Federal Capital Territory and Nigeria, because town planning covers virtually all aspects of land, and they actually do their job very well. This is how far we can go this morning with Town Planner Sani Adamu, a former National Auditor of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners and also a former Public Relations Officer of the FCT, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. It's a delight having him always on this program. My name is Isan. We'll be going on a very short break, and when we return, we'll definitely be looking at some of the dailies. We'll do this for like
Welcome back from our interview with Town Planner Sani. I want to believe we've had so much to occupy our mind with all that he said this morning. Now we're going to look at our dailies so that we'll converse together with all that are hearing us and listening. Thank you.
So let us quickly look at some of our dailies this morning on the P&B Morning Show. So much to discuss this morning, and we have so many of them. Person of Daily Trust, The Nation, Blueprint, Punch, Leadership, and Vanguard. These are some of the newspapers we'll be looking up to this morning. Let us start with the first, which is Daily Trust. On the front page of Daily Trust, we have Tinubu Shetima's trip, refreshment to go up 9.4 billion naira, and just beneath, we have presidency to spend 10 naira 10.6 billion naira on cars, honorarium for SC's office, appropriation bill scale second reading at NAS. So on the first, Tinubu Shetima's trips refreshment to go up 9.4 billion naira. That's huge.
Well, you see, looking at the way the whole system is going, and the president is actually going about calling all the short and all the investors, and I don't think it's going to cause a lot of issues, because for me, I feel so much that if the president truly have a good intention for the country, spending this amount of money to go about calling people to, like, okay, come into our country, we have so much that you can do with us, it's not a problem. But Nigerians will always look at it the other way. But for me, I so much believe in, you cannot go like this. You cannot just start all these trips and refreshment, as we call it, without you spending a lot of amount to make your visitors and all people that you're inviting to come to do investment in your country not to feel good. So this should not be a problem. All we need to do as Nigerians is to look, and then where it's necessary, we make suggestions, we advise the government, because the government is the people and the people are the government.
Yes, you've actually stated it very right. And the Tinubu Shetima's trip, this issue of the money, so many Nigerians will actually complain. 9.4 billion naira is not 100
Yes, please.
million or
Yeah.
200 or 1 billion naira. This is 9.4 billion naira. That's a very huge amount. If you pump that into a particular agency, you see a major turnover in
Very
terms
well.
of
Very
activities.
well.
And still on that particular page, we have the presidency to spend 10.6 billion naira on cars, honorarium, fuel, SA's office, presidency. That's a very huge one. You have so many SAs to the president and the rest. Some agencies are also under the presidency to spend 10.6 billion naira on cars. But it has become a routine that every year cars are bought.
Yes, you see, I was listening. I was listening to uh, uh, a presenter yesterday, and he talked so much about this spending, and he was like, even they buy spoons, they buy new things, just to make it look as if at every point in time they need to buy new things, which is not too appropriate for a government or a nation that is going through a lot of issues. Like, okay, I think the uh, representative of Kaduna North, that is in the person of El Rufai,
Bello Erufai?
Bello El Rufai was like, yes, looking at the way the whole thing is going, if you go through all this budget, why are you buying new spoons? Why are you buying new this thing? And he on the floor of the Senate, on the floor of the
House.
House, he was like, this is not how it should be. There should be, this money should go, the way you said, should go for other things that will make other people who are in need of this, not you having all the utensils and all that, but you still put it in the budget. Who are you deceiving? And he brought it to the House. So I feel now we're going to have this, the budget will be scrutinized very well. It's not as if the way it just come is on the second reading we see it, but it's not going to be business as usual. So I want to believe that Nigerians will follow it. The House of Rep members and the Senate should do us good by saying it the way it is. Not just you taking it to the second reading is okay, but we want to run with time because time is on the excess. But what we are saying is let every penny be allocated to where it should be.
That's our expectation from, because one thing that we also have to take note of is that we're having MDAs that are not actually creative in their thoughts. I remember during the last administration, Pantami rolled out something they call the e-administration, if I can remember that word properly, where all activities, administrative activities, will have to be online seamlessly. But so many Nigerians kicked against it because it was not an easy way for them to make money. That process would have been more transparent. It would be easier for it to move fast from one place to the other. But no, every year, every MDAs want to put money for stationaries. Every year, every MDAs want to put money for computers. So many irregularities in the system, and it is expected that the government must be able to provide a seamless way of making sure that, yes, this budget can actually be tracked. Because you cannot tell me last year you bought laptops, 100 laptops, and this year you are also buying the same 100 laptops. Are you doing charity work? So these are some of the questions that Bello El-Rufai actually raised, that you cannot be buying spoon every year. And that's not a very good one. Still on that front page of the Daily Trust, just beneath, you see, it was stated that the federal government reverses Ogunjimi's appointment as Accountant General of the Federation, made into complete her tenure. You can see that rigmarole.
Yes.
She has not finished her tenure, or she has not completed her tenure, but then the government released the name that the Ogunjimi should still should assume that office. So it's so many complications within the government system. There need to be a major streamline for it. And I'm still on that. Ahead of the Christmas celebration, chicken costs 25,000 naira. Turkey 130,000 naira.
That is great.
That is
great. Yes.
You said that is great?
That is great because we're in a system where the inflation is on everything. I will not lie you, when you go to the market, there's nothing that goes down. There's nothing that goes down.
Petrol price from Dangote refinery has actually gone down.
They will tell you the petrol price. They will tell you, are you importing these things? Are you importing the chicken? You read this chicken for like 6 months. You read this turkey for just like 7 months. And now if they should push you to say, okay, why is this thing going this way? You tell them the inflation. What's all about the inflation? Is it the feeds that you use for these animals that is making you? If it's that, what we're saying is that definitely we're not going to find it easy. So every Nigerian should just buckle up his or her belt, because it's not going to be as usual.
You are going to buckle up where you don't actually have a buckle to buckle it up.
So what do you do? The best thing is you appreciate what you get. It's not much that you must slaughter or kill slaughter any of these birds. Because for me, I can go with my normal kilo of meat. It's a normal thing. But you know,
it is a festive season. All these things are going to increase, because we've actually stated very clear that as a result of inflation, there is increment in the cost of goods and services.
Yes,
so even the kilo, probably, if you go back to the market today or tomorrow or close to the Christmas period, you're definitely going to see an increase one way or the other.
Yes.
Because whether you like it or not, just like you've seen the cost of chicken rising to this particular 25,000 naira, and then you attest that to the fact that, okay, probably from their food, that was why the cost of feed, the cost of chicken increased. Yes, it is possible, because they get maize.
Yeah.
Those who go to the farm to get you this maize, they transported themselves.
Of course.
Number two, the fuel has also increased.
Of course.
Number three, these grains they used to convert to feed for this particular chicken, the input of this grain, the fertilizers and the rest, have also increased. The ground rate has also increased. So some of these issues are actually, the accumulation of it is what we are now witnessing, which is not actually what we want. We want a better country. So let us quickly move to the Nation newspaper. And on the front page of the Nation newspaper, so much, just like so much actually happened. The police confirmed 35 children dead in Ibadan stampede. It also reflected on the Daily Trust.
Well, what really happened in that stampede is uncalled for, because I read through the information minister, commissioner of Oyo State, where he stated very clearly that they were not told, nobody informed them about this fun fair. So for this to take place, it's going to be like, okay, she the wife of the former queen of the wife to Oni. I think she probably did that without informing so that there should be a proper, I guess, to me, I guess what really brought this stampede was, people are hungry. Isa, people are hungry, and that's to tell you that maybe at the place where the food were being shared, or the things which were brought for the fun fair, that is where you see a lot of people were going for it. That's to tell you the kind of system we are in. So even if they want to, definitely they will give her blame to say, okay, madam, you did this without informing us. But the truth is, people are living in abject poverty. People are suffering. That is just what is happening. When you go look at what happened at the custom yard where they were sharing rice in Lagos. A lot of stampede. That's to tell you where the country is. So it's not you giving yourself too much amount of money, and you leave people you promise to protect, promise to give them better democracy. Now you leave them at the expense of their life. And what you see happening in Ibadan, in Lagos, and other part of Nigeria is just the true system, or the true life that Nigerians are going through. So if we're to go deep into what really caused this stampede, it's nothing but hunger. It's nothing but abject poverty. So we want to call on Nigerian government, please do the needful. She probably want to do it because she want to help people. She probably want to do it because she felt people around her, a lot are suffering, and she said, okay, let me use this occasion to make people happy, to make children feel at home, to make parents have relief. But the other, the negative of it happened. So will we kill her because of what happened? Should everybody throw stone at her because this is what happened?
Well, for many, they will say it is avoidable, because
Okay.
the truth is that when you are to carry out distributions like
Okay.
this, for fun fair and the rest of it like this, there should be proper planning. Number one, they failed in terms of making proper planning to accommodate the numbers of persons we saw in that particular stampede, which was very, very wrong. If you remember, during the immigration some years back,
Yeah.
under one of the senator
Yes,
from
yes.
Abamoro and the rest,
Abamoros,
it
yes,
was because of
interior,
there was improper planning
Good.
of that particular occasion that led to that death of some Nigerians.
Yeah.
And same thing happened here. There was no proper planning about the distribution of whatsoever item they are going to give. Number two, it actually reflects to the fact that we are in a serious mess in this country. Every zone you go to, every region you go to, every local government you go to, the level of abject poverty is increasing daily. Because if you have work to do, if you have something to put on the table for a family, definitely, why will people go and see you on the line queuing for peanuts? At the end of the day, you don't get it. At the end of the day, you lose your life. So it tells us so much about the reflection of government policies. It tells us so much about the lack of planning of leadership in terms of how they manage population. So there was poor planning in that. There is clear issue of poverty in the land, and these are critical issues that the government will have to face for them to be able to manage situations like this. If you don't make sure that we have food on the table, if you don't give support to farmers, to agri-processors, we are going to continue to have issues of this nature. So still on the Nation newspaper, just on that same page of the Nation newspaper, we saw by the left-hand corner of it, you discover that there are cars there, and that's for part of what the governor of Lagos State will be distributing during this particular festive period, yes, to the Nigerian police force and other security agencies to be able to provide enough security for the state. And that was almost same thing, I think that of the AMAC chairman was trying to raise the other day, that look, he doesn't have this capacity, and the minister should look into it. But then maybe the minister read it in the other way around.
Yes, you know, the truth of the matter is that this is how a system should be. You need security everywhere. Like, okay, the governor was not actually waiting for Mr. President to send these vehicles to him in Lagos before he do that, because he signed with the people of Lagos that I'll protect you, I'll protect everything that belongs to you. And how do you protect these people? You have to give the security a very good system, a very good means of
Transportation,
transportation. And what the governor is doing, I think other governors, the 36 states, should learn from this governor, because this is how to secure, to protect the people you promised, the people you went for, to say, okay, I promise you, if you give me this opportunity to serve you, I'm going to make everything okay for you. So I want to call on other states to learn from what Sao Luis is doing, to learn from him. We are not saying you should buy the number of cars he bought, but what you should do is make sure you do the needful. Like, okay, you brought the issue of the minister and the AMAC chairman. Well, people will look at it differently, but the AMAC chairman is being truthful to himself. They have been truthful to themselves, because they always give remittance to the FCTA. They do remittance too, like the state and their local governments. They do remittance. So what they are saying is, Mr. Minister, can you help us do this? Can you help us buy these cars? He has been doing it.
So
indirectly,
he doesn't want to tell the minister that, look, we're also remitting money to you.
Yes.
So since we are remitting money to you, you should also be able to take care of those responsibilities.
So he started. I don't know why he brought it on the podium. I don't know why
he was not happy, actually. He was not happy. He was not happy.
Yes.
And let us quickly move to the next paper on the screen. That's the blueprint. On the blueprint this morning, some of this same issue, just like what we just discussed. Wike revokes Buhari's foundation. Abbas, that's the Speaker of the National Assembly, Akume, that of Benue State, honor land titles. And the most surprising amongst them, for me, is not even that of the former President Foundation or Abbas, the Speaker, or Akume, because this has to do with land administration. And now we're having the Chief Justice of Nigeria being part of those whose land will be revoked by the minister. So what I thought, because this is the same question I was asking our guest earlier on, that even that of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, a former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Onohe, whose land is also part of those that will be revoked.
Yes, I think just like the town planner said earlier, nobody is above the law, and that is how a country should be run. You are nobody. You understand? Like, if you go through the systems that work in America, in the UK, they will tell you the books is bigger than the person that is in that place. So nobody is above revocation. For me, I think the new sheriff in town, in the person of Minister Wike, is doing very good. Because what we want to do, like the Nigerians will tell you, the big man is not touched. The big man goes scot-free with every of their things. Now we are seeing another new system. We're seeing a system where the president said, Mr. Wike, go all out, do the needful. Whoever is involved in this, give them time. If they are not ready to do, revoke it. Because what we need the money. We don't need all this borrow. Sorry.
Excuse
so we don't need all this borrow we see. You collect loan from IMF and all that, and we have huge money lying low there. So we're calling on Wike to do. We are supporting him. We are calling him, just like the town planner said earlier. nobody
It's
will
above the
see
law.
will see this and will not appreciate it. So if they know that, okay, what they told them or what they were given in the land paper, they should go on and do it. They should do the needful. They have the means. Why are you keeping it? Are you telling me that the speaker want to keep his land to appreciate? He have all it takes.
Well, for that of the speaker, I have just a small talk on that particular one.
Okay.
And that of the speaker, you know, the president just took the national the budget to the
Yes,
National
please.
Assembly,
Yes,
and many of them will be going there to defend it. I hope the minister will be able to defend it.
Yes, yes. Well,
Well, actually, that's rhetorical because my
Okay.
expectation is that, well, you are revoking my land, I'm not going to pass your budget.
Oh, that is another. You see, it's going to cause a lot of issues. The speaker would not even want to do that.
Yes.
He would not even want to, because Wiki is not somebody you just
Joke
with. He will tell you outrightly that, sir, we have the documents. You are given this document for so many years, and you didn't even think of doing it. Abbas is not a new person in the system. He have all it takes to develop this property. He have all it takes to do the needful. But me, for if Wike should go for his
Defense.
and they brought this issue, I think they are not being fair to him. They are not being fair to
In
him.
everything there is politics, and I believe all these issues will be resolved by the minister and those affected, most especially the top ones,
Okay.
like that of the Buhari's foundation. Well, just like I actually noted, the former spokesperson to the president have already stated it very clear that it was people of good intent, not even the president, who requested for such. And then just beneath
Good.
that particular one, the
Good.
picture
Good.
there, you see 24 hours after presentation,
Yes.
Senate reps passed 49.7 trillion 2025 budget for second reading.
Yes.
Adjourns plenary to January 14.
Yes,
And that's very good one.
I think what the National Assembly is doing right now is to tell Nigerians that we want to run with time. There's no time to waste time. There's no time to keep this thing till January. Now is on the second floor. Before you know, January is on here. So what we are saying is what they are doing is quite good.
Yeah, we need it to be accelerated.
Yes, it's very, very important. And then I was just looking at, just close to the title or the issue of land, we have FCTA IRS recount achievement, set bold target for 2025. The internal revenue, truly, since the minister came, there's a lot of improvement. You could see that, just like what is happening with the issue of the title, the land revocation,
Administration, yeah.
you could see that a lot of people are coming to say, oh, Mr. The FCTA, please, can you help us? Let's go and do this. So it's bringing a lot of achievement to the system.
And if that is done, just like it's doing now, we are going to see the Inland Revenue Service
Yes,
generating so much money
Yes.
to be able to carry out, for the government of the FCT minister to be able to carry out major change in the country, in the federal capital territory, most especially the issue of having up new areas coming up, the access road, water, and the rest. These are key issues that are very, very important for the development of the FCT. Let us quickly take the Punch now. On the Punch, on the first page, on the front page of the Punch, we have debt servicing salaries take 24.8 trillion in 2025, but that's on the top left-hand corner of the Punch. Yeah, you can see the picture of the Minister of Finance there, stating it that debt servicing salaries take about 24.8 trillion naira in 2025 budget. Debt services and salary, these are true. So these are money you are paying not for developmental actions. You are only servicing the debt.
That's why we say it should come. We have this should not come. This should not come to a system. If a system is working, I don't think this amount 24.8 trillion is not a small money. This is money that should be used for infrastructure, not for salary. So what I'm saying is, if truly what we've seen the on your side, is it on news, what do you call this man, that presented a paper that said, okay, we need to rejig the system. The number of people in the ministries and departments is too many. The money is just too much for this thing. Or no, sorry, is it?
Or no soil support.
Yes.
But if you look at, many people have actually raised issues that, look, the issue is that how much are they actually paying civil servants?
No.
For me, I don't think it is the number of persons that are much.
Okay.
The issue still lies on corruption.
Wow.
Corruption is actually eating the bulk of all these things. How much are you paying civil servants? How many civil servants do we have? We have over 240 million Nigerians. Are the civil servants up to 30 million or 10 million?
They are not.
So how much are they paying that they are saying the civil servant and the rest? Let us be fair to ourselves. Mind you, this money you pay to the civil servant, they are not the one eating this money alone. They take back home to their family. They take it back to the market. And the rest. So how much are you paying them with a minimum wage of 70,000 naira?
And that's why we are saying
That is less than $100.
we, the Nigerian people, this should be an eye-opener. Like, I used to have a friend, he called his foundation Follow the Money. And you see, every money they brought up on this budget, Nigerians will follow it. The civil societies will follow it. The ministry that brought this issue will keep writing to them to say, look, oh, we as media, we are reminding you. At so point you said, salary like this. How many staff do you have in this ministry, in this ministry, in this ministry? We'll start following it. That is the work of the Nigerian people. We should not just sit back and complain or go to the tea joint or go to the newspaper stand and start arguing. Follow this money. What is it made for? How many staff do you have in Ministry of Finance? How many staff do you have in Ministry of Labor and Productivity? You check all the ministries, then do your tabulating, send it back to the Senate.
You see where I always have, to an extent, I agree with RFI's tactics.
Good.
Which brought actually major light to many of the governors in the state. We understand that so many persons in government, that's why I'm telling you that corruption is the problem, not even the salary of staffs. So many people in government have inflated the numbers of persons that are actually working.
Yes, we have even
That's
the names
one.
of the names
Number
of three.
two,
You
we
see
have
the names of three, the names of
the names
river.
of dead persons.
Yes,
We have the names of the
dead
yet
persons.
unborn persons.
The dead persons.
We have.
Do you know that even the names of river, you see the names of trees, you see the names of communities.
So that is where the corruption lies.
That is the problem.
So if the government can help to have a major database that reflects the actual number of persons that we have in the system, you will discover that the salary that they are even paying is going to reduce. What we are saying is that the workforce we have, if you look at the actual workforce we are supposed to have and what they consume in terms of the salary, you discover that it is not even something to talk about.
Yeah.
But because they've inflated the figures, you can go to a particular place and then they tell you that, okay, we're having 150 persons. But if you check critically, you discover that maybe there are just 25 persons there. So this is where we should be tackling the issue of corruption in the civil service. But complaining about the cost of how much, or the cost, or the payment of salaries to this civil servant, the actual civil servant, is not even much, because it is still less than $100 as we speak. So these are the major issues, and for that we'll be moving next to the next on the line, which is the leadership newspaper. And on the leadership newspaper, same issue is happening across all the dailies. If we can have the director switch it up to the leadership newspaper now, you discover that it is the same issue that we discuss that is actually what is reflecting in all the dailies. And on the leadership newspaper, you discover that Wike revokes Buhari, Abbas, 757 others land. So it is the same issue all across. But then we have ex-governor Yaya Bello get 500 million bail. That's a huge one. Imagine having 500 million.
Well, it's no money to him because allegedly, what they allege that he took
Over 110 billion.
yeah. So if they are giving him this, I think it's just a soft landing for that kind of embezzlement. But we want to thank him for even he took a lot of time, because that is my problem. I said, if you know that you can start begging at the end of the day, why do you keep running away? Why do you keep making it look as if it's a drama? Why can't you just go? We see former governors like him who just went there, and then they went and submit themselves to the EFCC. But he make himself too loud. He make everything to look as if he's the only person that did that. So he should have come out all this while to go and present himself. All this is not about the bill that is the problem, but he has already shamed himself. Because to me, I don't think tomorrow, what will his grandchildren say about their father?
Politicians don't care about that.
Okay,
So let us
so
quickly
he's
take
not
another
going to
look
have
at
children, I
the
think.
last story before we call it a day. Yeah, on the P&B morning show, I'm going through the dailies, and we have the Northern Democrats seek tax bills amendment. That's from Shekarau, the
Yes.
former governor, the former minister, and the former senator, one
Yes.
of the most crowned
Ye-
politicians we have
Yes,
in the country.
you see, for Shekarau, I'm in love with him, because he's someone that has intellect. He's somebody that is very straightforward. So for him, he has understood that for this thing, there's going to be a lot of good things that is coming with it. So for him, he said the tax bills amendment, that they are they seek tax bills amendment. The government should go through it again. There are so many things that is not done right. They should look at it and now say, okay, like this, like this. They, the northern elders, should also come up with their own memorandum. Like, okay, this thing is already, the House of Assembly said, bring the solution, come for hearings. Let's sit down, let's discuss, what do we do? These are where you are objecting at. Bring it up, let's look at it. So what they are doing is a very good one.
Okay, thank you so much, Abraham. Is indeed a very good one that we have. The northern senators now try, or the northern leaders, or northern Democrats, as he rightly stated, that let them come together and review this particular tax bill so that it can scale through. I believe one of their major concerns was the issue of the sharing formula. There is a bit of change in this new tax bill, and that is where their focus is, most especially the governors, that you cannot just push the issue of population away when you are trying to readjust to the issue of you are the one collecting the tax. So you should be able to take much. But then you are keeping away population aside. Population actually has a major impact on tax collection, and that's where you see the issue of consumption tax. But then this is how far we can go today on the P&B morning show. This is where we'll be drawing our curtains. And from ourselves, we wish you the very best as Nigerians prepare ahead of the Christmas celebration, which is coming up. I believe that is next week.
Next week, Wednesday. So we wish Nigerians all the best and Merry Christmas in advance.
Thank you so much, and we'll be meeting definitely as we progress in the days to come.